All right, students, today we're going to learn how to use the find and replace feature in Microsoft Word. This tool is awesome. I mean, it's a really powerful tool. It can help you find and replace a certain word just automatically. Maybe this is an example I used in class. Maybe one day you woke up and decided, you know what? I am not going to eat beef anymore. I just don't want to eat red meat. So, what about all these recipes that have beef in them that are really good? I still wanna keep the recipes, but I want to change the word beef to tofu or vegetable protein or something like that. Okay, so knowing what you know so far, the way that you would go and change the word beef to tofu is you would search up here for beef. Okay, and then you would go to every result of beef. You would start at the top and you'd scroll till you saw the yellow highlighted beef and you'd backspace it and you'd change it to tofu. And you'd come down here and you'd just keep, scrolling until you saw a yellow one that grabbed your attention and then you would change it to tofu or whatever. Okay, but with this new way that I'm going to teach you today, you could do it so much faster. So what I would do, not have anything in there, but then at this drop down arrow at the end of the search bar, I'll click that and I'm going to go to replace. So it opens up this little dialog box. This one, let me just explain. This one, if you say find beef and then you click find next, it'll go and it'll stop on each page one at a time that has beef. So if you wanted to look at them one at a time and decide whether you were going to change that particular one or not, you could do it that way. But if you said, I'm positive that every beef in there, I want it to say tofu, then you just want to make sure that you're on this one to actually replace it, not just find it, but find it and replace it. Okay. And then if I click replace, just replace and not replace all, it'll go to each one at a time so that you can decide over here whether you're going to replace it or not. So sometimes you might want to replace it and say ground tofu, or you might say, well, I don't want it to be ground tofu, just tofu. So then you could just go here yourself and make whatever change you wanted. But then you could hit find next. So you could see on this one, do I want it to say tofu enchiladas? Sure. So then I would say replace. But yeah, it just lets you find the next one and decide if you're going to replace it or not. Find the next one, replace it or not. But if you want to replace all at once, then you can just click replace all and it will do them all and it will tell you how many it did. Okay. So then, let's see. I want to show you also how to change, like if you wanted to find everywhere that was beef and you wanted it instead of beef to not have anything, like you just wanted it to erase beef, what you would say is find beef and replace with, and you just leave it blank. Okay, that works. And then you could hit replace all. Or if you wanted it to say beef or take off beef and replace it with 3 question marks, hit replace all, it would do that. Okay, so it doesn't have to be a word, it could be a period, it could be a space, it could be 10 spaces. Okay, so there's a lot of different options you have in here. Now let's learn how to, um, for example, find the word cookie. Every time it says the word cookie, well, in fact, let me do chocolate. Let's have it find the word chocolate and replace it with chocolate. I know that sounds weird, but replace with chocolate, but then change the font on chocolate. Like change it to a different font style of chocolate. So then you would say more, and you could go to format down here and go to font. So you could say replace it with bold, size 26, underlined, Font color. Okay, if we were to do that and then hit OK and replace all, it just did it to 24 places. So let's hit OK and let's go see. Okay, so let me type in chocolate over here. Okay, see that? And I can just scroll. And every time I scroll down, and I can easily see where the next chocolate one is. Okay, so there's lots of neat uses and things you can do with the find and replace button. So let's go back to find and replace or replace. Okay, when you're ready to do the next thing, or if you're like, you know what, I want to undo that. I really shouldn't have done that. Close that and then do a Control Z. Don't wait and do 10 more changes and then go, oh, I'm going to go change chocolate because it might not be available. You might not be able to undo that far. So always undo quickly, Control Z. Okay, so let me just pull that up. One last thing to show you here is I just need to go back into this for a minute because I forgot to show you one thing. So if I did bold and I did size 28, underlined, or whatever, and then I replaced them all. Okay, here's something. I'm so glad this popped up. If it says we made 15 replacements, do you want to continue searching from the beginning? You always put yes. Okay, because the thing is, there were 17 more for a total of 32. There were 17 more tofus. It was finding tofu. There was 17 more that were above where the mouse was clicked. Wherever your mouse is clicked on the document and you find and replace, it only checks below where the mouse is, but then it will say, okay, we finished checking the rest of the document. Do you want us to also check at the beginning, like above the mouse? So yeah, you always say yes. Click OK. And I just realized I had tofu and chocolate, but I'm gonna undo it so I don't mess up my recipe file. But the last thing I did want to show you is that when you're ready to do a new find and replace, like if you say find the word the and replace with the word, well, maybe I should do a different one. Chicken and replace with turkey. Turkey. I've still got these on. So to get these off, I go to format. No, I don't. Sorry. I go down here to no formatting and then it'll take that off. Okay, so that's how you do that. And something just came to my mind that I wanted to tell you. I'm not quite sure what it was. So if you run into a problem, if there's something I didn't show you that you run across, be sure you let me know. Oh, I know what it was. Okay, here's what it is. You could actually really mess things up if you're not careful. Let me show you what I mean. So if you wanted to find capital T, which a lot of you know means tablespoon in a recipe, if you wanted to find T and replace it with tablespoon, be careful doing that. Okay, it's going to find every T. It's going to find that T in tortillas, that T. It's going to find every T and change it to tablespoon. So let me show you what it would do, and then I'll show you how you should do it. If I hit replace all, look how many it did. Oh my gosh. Do you want to begin or continue searching at the beginning? Yes. Whoa. Look at that. 41.95. So that means, look at that. Every T, it changed to tablespoon. So the changed it to tablespoon 8G. Up here on world's best recipes, now it's world's best tablespoon recipes. Tablespoonable of tablespoons. Okay, so be so careful. Control Z to undo that. And the way you get it from making that mistake is up here in replace. You say find whole words only. Now, if this isn't showing, okay, just click the more button Find whole words only. Only the T's that are basically preceded by a space and followed by a space, just when it's its own word. So now when I hit replace all, there we go. It just found 14 replacements. Okay, best of luck. Let me know if you run into any trouble. Thanks, you guys.